The UK has published plans to ditch parts of the Northern Ireland Protocol, despite the EU saying the move would break international law. So the controversial bill allows border rules in Northern Ireland to be torn up without the permission of Brussels to make it easier for some goods to flow from Great Britain to Northern Ireland. And Foreign Secretary Liz Truss has been defending the legislation, which has been met with strong opposition, including from Sinn Féin and other Northern Irish parties, who've branded it utterly reckless.
Is so important is we restore the Belfast Good Friday Agreement, we restore power sharing in Northern Ireland, and that is the priority of the UK government. We're doing this in a way that protects the EU single market, that makes sure they receive information about what goods are crossing the Irish Sea. So we are maintaining the core principles of what we're doing, and we are acting within international law.
Well, there we go. Well, tensions are reaching boiling point with the EU, but Boris Johnson today warned them against waging a trade war.
The bureaucratic change that needs to be made, frankly, it's a relatively trivial set of adjustments in the grand scheme.
See, the CBI says it could lead to trade wars.
I think that would be a gross overreaction. All we're trying to do is simplify things to remove barriers to trade between Great Britain and Northern Ireland.
There we go. There, Boris Johnson there speaking earlier. And as the Tories grapple with the Northern Ireland Protocol in their determination to get Brexit done, concerns are being raised about the impact a Labour government would have on the hard-fought battle to leave the EU. And a damning new book, The Starmer Project. It's not exactly a page. I'll tell you what, the rare ones will be the unsigned ones, won't they? But anyway, The Starmer Project, A Journey to the Right by Oliver Eagleton, yeah, well done, lays the blame for Labour's collapse at the 2019 general election firmly on the door of Keir Starmer, the party's then shadow Brexit secretary. And Eagleton claims that it was Sir Keir Starmer who included the phrase, "No one is ruling out Remain" as an option at the 2018 Labour conference, despite being instructed by Corbyn's office to remove it, resulting in their popularity tanking. So, as the Tories remain committed to delivering on Brexit despite the many roadblocks, would a Labour government and sleuth Remainer Starmer try to reverse the biggest democratic mandate in British history? Well, there we go. And, of course, now not many people have been able to... Oh, no, we're going to bring in the panel straight away. Apologies, everybody. There you go. I was wondering. You've been sitting there diligently, just as I said before, looking beautiful, all of you. And so it's about time. Carole, I'll start with you then on this particular one. So do you think now that a vote for Labour would probably mean a vote for rejoining the European Union?
Oh, completely. I mean, Starmer's already said that he would come to a new arrangement with the EU. And what gets me is, they saw what happened last time when they were flinging towards Remain. They saw what the reaction of the Red Wall was. They saw what the reaction of the Red Wall was in the election when there was an 80-seat majority. And still, they're not listening to the people that they want to vote for them. They want to get the Red Wall voters back. And yet, here is Starmer talking about the EU. The thing is, I think this is a fantastic for Boris, though, because as long as Starmer and all the rest of them, even the ones in the Tory party, keep on talking about rejoining, Boris is going to be able to stay. This will save Boris. If nothing else, this will save him.
That's an interesting one. Benjamin, I'll let you come back on that one, because part of me is inclined to agree, actually. We always bang on about Keir Starmer not really having any policies, and he appears to have one now that is the same one that worked to disastrous effect at the last general election.
Well, I mean, Carole, in a sort of stop-clock moment, made a very good point at the end there. Because
you are so close to a smack button.
Because when Carole says quite rightly that Boris Johnson's best chance of staying in office is to, as I would put it, pretend that Labour wants to rejoin, which it doesn't. And Keir Starmer's been completely clear about that. I mean, whoever Oliver Eagleton is that wrote that book, I mean, he's probably not the best-known writer in his own house. No, I've certainly never heard of him. But that's someone that's clearly trying to absolve Jeremy Corbyn of responsibility. Corbyn is the reason a lot of people didn't vote Labour, because he was abhorrent and useless.
You work for a newspaper, though. Did you not remember, Starmer, the quote, "I am prepared to make a new arrangement with the EU." You can't remember him saying that just 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, but that's not really the question of rejoining. He's been absolutely clear. He said explicitly throughout his time as leader that he wouldn't rejoin. And the truth is, the question I'd put to the rest of you is that, the audacity, the gall, the gumption to try and blame Labour for Boris Johnson undoing Boris Johnson's deal because Boris Johnson's deal doesn't work.
OK, we'll come back to that, because you were, of course, a Brexit Party MEP, and I dare suggest that you maybe are not over the moon with our current Brexit deal, is that right? So
No.
Are you a bit on the fence about this? Obviously, Keir Starmer says he wants to renegotiate. That means a softer Brexit, no doubt, but you can't be that happy with what we've got now.
No, it was a dog's dinner of a deal. We made that very clear when Boris was championing this oven-ready deal. The Brexit Party were like, it's not oven-ready. It carves up the United Kingdom.
The oven's broken and the meal's off.
The Northern Ireland Protocol was clear at the time, was a horrendous piece of legislation that was going to go against the Good Friday Agreement by changing the constitution of Northern Ireland without consent, etc., etc. The EU, by the way, couldn't give flying flamingo about peace. About peace in Northern Ireland. It was clear when we were in the EU Parliament. They saw Northern Ireland and the border as a stick to bash Brexit Britain with. But my point is this. The reason why it was such a bad deal is because the Remainers in Parliament voted for the Surrender Treaty, which was the Benn Act, which gave Brussels the right to dictate our Brexit terms. But it's true, the Remainers in Parliament colluded, I'm sorry, this is my belief, colluded with the EU to stop Brexit, to overturn it, trusting Labour. Labour said they'd respect the result and then wanted to campaign for Remain in a second. Do not trust Labour with Brexit.
It is no coincidence as well that, what you're saying, that Labour doesn't want to rejoin. Yes, it's no coincidence that Mandelson has crawled out of the woodwork. He's told Starmer to be more ambitious.
Well, it's more like he's unzipped himself out of his cocoon, as far as I can tell. But yeah.
Well, he looks like he's in a cocoon. Yeah, and now Tony Blair is getting together. He's having this conference, the future of Britain. This is all good for Boris.
It is good.
It's just
good
pathetic.
for Boris.
You can believe it all you like. I might believe I'm going to marry Brad Pitt, but it ain't going to be true, is it?
No, I know that's not.
You never know.
We're 12
That's a
years.
bit old.
We're 12 years into a Conservative government. You have the Conservative Prime Minister that argued for Brexit and probably won over the important number of people to make it a victory.
Definitely.
Yeah, I agree with that. He has an 80-seat majority of Conservatives in Parliament, and yet you sit here and go, oh, it's the EU's fault, it's the Remainers' fault, it's the court's fault, it's Labour's fault, it's the Tory backbenchers' fault. Why doesn't Boris Johnson take responsibility for itself? Will you ever hold them to account?
The question is, will Starmer try and take us back into the EU? That's the question. I'm blaming
Yes, he will.
And our answer to that is yes, he will.
And Carole, he'll do it by rejoining the EU in all but name.
Yes.
So, like they did, Labour signed the Lisbon Treaty behind our backs, outsourcing a huge amount of our sovereignty without the consent of the people. That is why they are untrustworthy to handle, to be the guardians of our democratic agency.
Well, all three of you just about kept it in check there.
Yeah,
and
I thought we were well behaved this time.
You were. Absolutely. Benjamin, you've come dressed as a ray of sunshine, and you were there, which we love to see.